All right. We are now live on Facebook. All right, welcome everybody to the Mother Tongues Multilingual Open Mic with the American Poetry Museum. My name is Tatiana Figueroa Ramirez, and I'm going to go ahead and start us off with a poem. Querida abuela, I remember you through countless stories of family memories and a handful of pictures passed down like priceless heirlooms. Abuelo Tongo and Titi Nivia do look like you. I tried to find myself in you, but I'm not sure which parts of your face kissed my own features. I am told you were strong and funny. Pushing 10 children out of your womb, how could you not be strong? Raising 9 children between a hot island and a cold city, how could you not have a good sense of humor? I tried to write the jokes you would have shared between laughs, and my page is white like the ganas highlighting your stoic portrait. I can't even imagine how your laughter used to sound. Your entire self is a blurred puzzle. Unsure how to fill in the gaps of the muddled pieces, I realize how little I know you. Your legacy named Ramirez, like a brand etched into our skins at birth, yet you are not a Ramirez, only by marriage. You raised a Torres and born a Carrera. So was it Torres or Carrera that shaped the matriarch this family cannot let go of? I'm not sure it matters. Abuela Mariana, you the wingless angel missing from biblical tales with shrines built in your honor. Your tomb sits on a hill overlooking the mountains of Samana Grande, it already engraved with your children waiting to sleep in your bed again. Your name a prayer on its own, whispered, cried, and screamed by the children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren lost in the world you left. Red candles wrapped in el Sagrado Corazón de Jesús burn, cutting the darkness night brings, yet you remain gone. No matter the times we repeat, Abuela Mariana, Abuela Mariana, Abuela Mariana, I will not meet you on this earth. I will only hear of your legend. I will still know to love you, but I will not know you any more than I do now. I don't even know how well you knew English or how well you could have read this, but I hope you still get the message. Con mucho cariño. All right. Welcome everybody to the Mother Tongues Multilingual Open Mic with the American Poetry Museum. As I said earlier, my name is Tatiana Figueroa Ramirez, and I'm going to be your host for the evening. So, Mother Tongues Multilingual Open Mic, if this is your first time joining us, it's exactly how it sounds. It's an open mic, multilingual, any language is fair game. Spanish, English, Urdu, Amharic, Portuguese, anything, you name it, right? And the idea behind this, I was sitting down talking to my dear friend, Mr. Sammy Miranda, who is on here with us today, and he does a lot of work at the American Poetry Museum. He's actually at the American Poetry Museum right now, setting up the new art exhibit by Frank Rosario called Attack Decay. So you can actually go to the American Poetry Museum if you're in the DC area and you feel so inclined to see some dope artwork, experience some community. You can go to the space on Fridays, 5 to 7 p.m. or Saturdays, 10 to 3 p.m. We are going to be announcing some upcoming events for artist meet and greet so that you can talk to Frank, you can learn more about his artwork, you can check out the artwork. So stay tuned for that. Now, when we're talking about the multilingual open mic, one thing that we really wanted to do was highlight the diverse community here in DC. And now that I'm talking about diversity and the different communities living in DC, I do want to just send much love to our Asian community, our Asian brothers and sisters who are going through a very horrible time right now. I don't even know, I can't imagine what you're feeling right now. But I do hope that you find peace and you find warmth and you're with your community, whatever that means for you. So just know that here at the American Poetry Museum, we are a community. We do celebrate the diversity. We do celebrate the artistry that we have here in DC. So if you want to come to us for some warmth and peace and just to experience some art, we're here for you. So the way that tonight is going to go is all my folks on the Facebook live stream, you're not in the Zoom with us. We can't hear you. We can't feel you. But we're all artists. We love to feel that energy and that vibe. And we want to know you're here with us. So what you can do is, even though we can't hear you, you can share, you can like, you can have all those reactions, those heart buttons, all of that. Give us all the emojis. You can also comment. If there's something somebody said that really stuck with you, be sure to throw that in the comments. If you feel so moved to say something, please just share it in the comments so that we know you're here with us, and we appreciate you spending a piece of your Friday night with us, okay? So I'm going to try to drop some links as people are talking, as people are sharing. You know, we've got a lot of events coming up. You can donate to the American Poetry Museum. So, you know, just pay attention to those comments as well. Now, I'm going to stop talking because y'all came here for art, and I'm talking a bit too much right now. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up our first artist to the virtual stage. So everybody, please show some love for Maritza.
Thank you, Tatiana, and thanks everybody for joining us. As many of you know, I like to honor my ancestors with my poetry, and I kind of sort of have an anthem. So I'm going to start with that. I'm going to start with some sand and end with some sand, and throw my grandmother in there as well. So Tatiana gave me that clue there. So I'm going to start with Boricua Blues because that says it all for me, and is a way that I honor them. I'll start the first stanza in English, and then I'll do the rest of the poem in Spanish. Boricua Blues. I am the child of Huracan, the wind that tangles your hair, the gust that sways spindly palms, the breeze that fans the hot sand. Soy hija de huracán, la ráfaga que enreda tu cabello, la ventolera que mece las palmas, la brisa que abanica la arena. Soy hija de huracán, la vaguada que azota las playas, el salitre que besa tus labios, el vapor que embruja la brea. Soy hija de huracán con tres culturas enlazadas en mis trenzas. Soy la clave que estremece los timbales, las perlas que retumban en maracas, la salsa bailando en tu alma. Soy hija de huracán, un mango maduro chorreando jugosamente en tu barbilla, el guarapo que endulza tu lengua, café hirviendo en tu sangre. Soy hija de huracán, con ojos taínos veo volar tres banderas en mi castillo. Con el acento de mis abuelos, hablo idiomas extranjeros, oigo el latido de sus tambores, sonando orgullosamente en mi corazón, en mis anhelos y en mis sueños. Soy hija de huracán, la heredera de su fortuna encantada. Yo soy, I am, Boricua. And, you know, thank you. I'm packing and getting ready to go to my beloved island on Sunday. And I like to tell stories about my grandmother. I have a couple of poems dedicated to her, and this one is interesting, I think. La Playa Negra, Tar Beach. And this is an ekphrastic poem about a painting by Antonio Martorell, and his painting is called Tar Beach 1. And this is La Playa Negra. My grandmother was a garment worker making swimsuits for 30 years at Parform in New York City. Each year, I could choose a new swimsuit from the samples she brought home at the end of the season. That's when she was laid off from the factory for the summer. I wonder if Abuela was the woman on the rooftop sewing bathing suits on Tar Beach. Look for the Union label. And Tar Beach 1 is a postcard. And Antonio Martorell has a series of postcards in terms of artwork. And so I saw it and I automatically thought about my grandmother. And the last poem I'm going to read is called Painting Sand. And this is for Carl and Marilyn Banner. They're visual art. Marilyn is a visual artist. Carl is a classical pianist in the area in Tacoma Park. And Marilyn would go to Puerto Rico to get inspiration from the ocean. And so this is something that I wrote for them. Painting Sand. Ocean waves lick the shore with wide brushstrokes on an expansive canvas. Maybe the curvaceousness of offshore islands inspires such caresses, like wearing an off-the-shoulder gown to a premiere at the symphony and hearing music played for the first time. The veins in the sand are blue mermaid tears etched deeply in the soul. Thank you.
That was absolutely beautiful, Maritza. I love your poetry. I love listening to you read your poetry, and I resonate a lot with your style of writing and the topics that you write about, and I appreciate that. And I'm hoping that you can tell folks about your Mariposa Poetry Retreat 2022.
Well, in 2020, I did all of this work to lay the foundation to do the Mariposa Poetry Retreat, which had been an annual retreat locally. And it was for a weekend. But in 2020, after the hurricane and all of that, I decided I would bring what I do here back to Puerto Rico with me. And so all the groundwork was laid. We had venues we were going to read at. We had the faculty, which included yours truly, Samuel Miranda, Sammy. So, and then the pandemic hit, everything shut down, and my heart was broken. But, I said, okay, everything is pretty much done and waiting. So I figured this year was still a little too soon to schedule that again, but 2022 will be the year. And it's going to be a week-long retreat, and it's called Writing in the Rainforest, because the location that we're going to is an ecotourism lodge up in the mountains. So it's just a spectacular place, and the energy is right, and the magic will automatically happen. So there will be more.
Yes, I'm very excited for it personally. Now, I know that obviously the applications had closed for the 2020, but now that it's in 2022, do folks who are just hearing about it now have time to apply? Do they have that chance?
Oh, absolutely. I announced that it's happening recently, about maybe a week or so ago on Facebook. And there's a Mariposa Poetry Retreat page on Facebook. And I will be putting out information. If anybody, is interested, they can email me. It's mariposapoet611@gmail.com. So, and I can put that in the chat.
Awesome. So I am on it, putting it into the comment section, mariposapoet611@gmail.com. So if you're interested in doing some writing and connecting with the land and nature, which I always really recommend when it comes to writing poetry and connecting with like Maritza said earlier, with ancestors, I think it's going to be a beautiful experience. So if you have the opportunity, at the very least, reach out to Maritza to find out more information about it. So, and I'm going ahead and posting her email in the comments section. So be sure to check that out. Thank you so much, Maritza.
Thank you.
All right.
You were mute.
I just muted myself. That's what happens when I hang out with Sammy.
Mm.
So that's actually a great segue because next up in our open mic, we have none other than the wonderful, dope, always putting it down for his community, Sammy Miranda.
Hey folks, what's going on? Happy to be reading with these folks. I'm gonna read a couple pieces. The first one is called Self-Portrait with Mullet at 120 pounds soaking wet. And it's, I did a series of self-portraits that look at my experience at different ages. And this one is like college and going to a predominantly white institution, not feeling, you know, like it was a space that I belonged, and then going home and then not feeling that that was a space that I belonged. So this is that piece, Self-Portrait with Mullet at 120 pounds soaking wet. This is an unfamiliar space, one where I am the unfamiliar. They notice the difference, I know who's different. I look for those who know where I'm from, who know empty pockets don't translate to empty minds. Can't wrap mind around how home is a different something, how family questions my belonging, how they want to wash away the unfamiliar. Fuck it. I'm just listening to music that will move my feet to see if unfamiliar becomes enticing enough for someone to want to dance with me. I've been writing a lot about belonging and place, and so I'm just gonna follow with two pieces that deal with that as well. This one is called Illegal. You are no longer this place, no longer accepted, uprooted, the tree removed from the landscape, beauty no longer found in your flower, comfort no longer found in your shade. What does it mean to be homeless? A human is borderless until a line is drawn into the dirt that houses the bones, and then they become not man, not woman, but flag. A thing to be defined by the imagination of limited minds. What does it mean to be told that you are or are not of a place you have always been from? Not from a dirt that knows your blood, not from a place where soil is fertilized with your ancestors, that you must flee the home that once held you to its chest. And I'm gonna end with a short little piece called Home. And this is actually a poem that I wrote by cutting out little phrases from National Geographic magazine. So all the words in the poem are actually phrases from a National Geographic magazine, probably from somewhere between the 50s and the 70s. Home. When it's time to leave it all behind, discard button, bead, or bubble. Leave all things unfamiliar, but be sure not to miss the boat. People are moving quietly, migratory water birds in flight. Many immigrants land in a city of so many places. Everyone, sooner or later, finds one special they name home. Y ahí está.
Thank you so much, Sammy. You know, I feel like I've heard you read a lot, but I don't feel like I hear you read enough. And I'm always so happy to hear you. And I'm always like, if you guys haven't seen Sammy's artwork, like not only is he a poet, but he's also an amazing artist, and he does, in my opinion, virtually everything. He paints, he sculpts, he carves, he embroiders. Like, what don't you do, Sammy? Is truly a gift and a blessing that you have. But now that you're at the space, can you talk to us a little bit about the Frank Rosario exhibit that you guys are putting up now?
Sure. So actually the show that's up is
Yeah, I'm in a meeting. I'll be right there. Hold on.
It's copper and wood sculptures that he's welded together. So I'll just show you a couple of those pieces that are like really interesting, because when he weaves the wood into the copper, it kind of forces the copper to take a different shape. So you've got all this stuff that's kind of like, you know, when it's on its own, it's one thing. When it interacts with another, it's a whole different thing. So it's really beautiful to see. He has a couple of pieces that are just copper lines that are almost in the form of a little belly that I resonate with because I've gained some poundage, you know. So here's a couple of the pieces that we're exhibiting currently.
Very nice. And just again, folks who are watching on Facebook, you can go to the American Poetry Museum and check it out for yourself. Fridays from 5 to 7 p.m. and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. We are based in DC, and we're also going to be announcing upcoming events for you to actually meet Frank and for you to talk with Frank and see the artwork, you know, up close and personal, and be able to learn more about him as an artist and his artwork in general. So,
yep, most definitely.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Sammy, for being with us tonight. All right, next up, we're going to keep it moving with the open mic. And I'm going to bring up to the virtual stage someone who's no stranger to the Mother Tongue stage. And it's always a pleasure having him with us. So everybody, please give a warm welcome to Bruno.
Good evening. I have a poem here I wrote called Times They Are A-Changing. If El Coronel Buendia had a cell phone and a Snapchat account, Macondo would have been the setting for a Trump-Clinton debate, and indeed I would have started the grassroots movement Macondo Lives Matter. La Viuda de Montiel would have her own show on the E! Network called The Real Housewives of Colombia. If Gabo would have laid tracks to Cien Años de Soledad, he would have won 3 Grammys and the music world would have to chase the lyrics to hear them. Pitbull would be touring with Mark Anthony and hosting the concert series Los Niños Tontos. Ricky Martin would be on tour with Los del Rio, and La Macarena would be replaced by Living La Vida Lorca. Bob Dylan wins the Nobel Prize for Literature, and they put me on 3 different meds. This one's called Transportation. Run, 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 run. Everybody runs, upstairs, downstairs. Run, 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 run. Run, 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 run. R-U-N. Real undeniable nonsense. Run, run, I run, you run, they run. Can you run? Why run? Everybody's running to what? You live in DC, land of laid back, I'll get back to you, foolish nations, capital politica. So why run? The president runs, not his country. Al Sharpton wears running suits, but he doesn't run physically. Teachers work in schools, the students run. Run, 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 run. R-U-N. Reality underlies narcissism. Why run? Are you scared of me? Of you? Of your blackness? Of your Hispanicness? Of your Asianness? Of your lack ofness? Of your flabby-ass commercialized existence that is grounded in false cultures forged by rape civilizations? Are you scared? Then run. Run, 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 run. Run, 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 run. R-U-N. Reclusive urban nuances. Going up the escalator, going down the escalator. The stairs move, but the people run. Run so that you can do all those things. Run so that you won't fail. Run to your subsequent ulcer. Run to your bank account. Run to your status quo bar and have happy hour drinks with tapas. And when the time is right, say, gotta run now. Gee, look at the time. I've got to run. Run, 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 run. Run, 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 run. RUN. Repressed, undefined neophytes. Have to look busy. Gotta have a beeper so that I know someone is looking for me. Someone I won't call because I have to run. Run, 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 run. Why are you running in DC? Life here is slow enough. You could do a lot without running. Running yourself sick, running yourself to the grave, running scared, running into walls. Run so that you can hide. Run so that people can't approach you. Run so you appear to be doing something constructive. Run so that time doesn't pass you by. Run so that people will think you've done something with your life, even though all you've done is run from yourself.
You know, Bruno, you have such a lighthearted way of delivering some very powerful messages. And I really appreciate that about your poetry and the way that you read it as well.
Yeah, I start with one thing and it always turns into something else.
Doesn't it happen like that all the time though?
I was in the New York Ricans came over to DC in '95 with Miguel Garin, rest in peace. And we had to write a poem. And there was nothing in here, nothing. I went to the bathroom and there was a dead roach on the bathroom floor. Bing! That was my poem. That was my poem. Maybe I'll read it next time. That was a great poem, though.
You should read it next time. I would love to hear about that.
Yeah, that's a classic poem.
And I think folks watching us would want to listen to that too. I actually want to shout out folks who are watching us. I see you all in the comments. Johannes, Lazaro, Ruben, Liz, Milka, everybody's up in here. So shout out to everybody who's watching us on this Friday evening. Thank you so much, Bruno, for sharing.
Thank you for letting me read.
Of course, always. You're always welcome. And next up in our open mic, also not new to the Mother Tongues family, and always welcome to the Mother Tongues open mic. Please give it up to Oren.
Thank you. So happy to be here. I've got four poems, and they're all sort of themed around the idea that this is yet Women's History Month, and I wanted to just, talk about those in the various aspects. I think the first two might qualify as womanist poems, and then the third one, it's just written with an understanding of the community where I live, which is sort of an academic community and sort of one of the types of lives that some women here experience. And the last one, I think, is in the trope of, my baby done left me. So first, the first two poems. Anna has a basil. Springtime and everyone is getting into that whole gardening thing and the organic thing, and you've got ideas about growing tomatoes or growing herbs in the garden or growing herbs in your window, whether it's thyme or rosemary or basil. So this first poem is called Anna Has a Basil. Anna has a basil turning brown in the nicest pot, a house like her mother's house. The little thing started dying the day she put it there, away from the plastic tray of green, tender leaves in the produce section. And now, it doesn't take her water very well, losing a leaf each time she wets the soil, dying a little more when she dries it out, spotting, and hanging to one side in the pretty pink pot, a house like her mother's house. On the windowsill in the kitchen, where the cat never comes, refusing to fight on like her mother, surrendering her life to the nicest house where nothing ever grew, but everything always looked shiny and new. That's one. And so Bruno was talking about a little bit about, you know, the climate, the political and social, you know, sort of the time of the strong man, the year of the bully. And, you know, we've got different names for people who want to run the world by power, depending on the locale and the geography. This one is called For the Mullahs. The doctors found something bad on Susan's brain. So they went into her head and took it out, thinking her father is worse than a terrorist. The mullahs or whatever, they grab you and you give them money or a plane. You go. Her old man snatched her mother 50 years ago. So, and kids, 3 nice girls, but he kept her anyway. That's number 2. And this third poem, I think, was written in large measure because of many of my friends and acquaintanceships where I live, which is very typical of many communities around the country that are sort of built around this woman. The childless woman often thinks about all trusting faces she lives without, how water on the window pane traced like fingers on her chest, and how wet breathing bite and suck upon her breasts. An open April window of desire ogles her nipples cresting firm, shudder in her shoulder and the liquid fire in her thigh writhing squirm. And the mornings and the evenings in bed, the Christ who was risen and the Christ who was dead, all the praises she has heard and all the flatteries left unsaid. Space for her unfound love. In this space, her fuss begins by night, by day. By the potter's wheel she sits and once alone she spins. And her mood is always the color of clay. The face of tomorrow remains the face of yesterday. She counts the days until they are 7, and he, not found on earth, she now seeks in heaven. Her disconsolate sadness quivers across her moistened lips, and the taut terror of her madness fires the fury in her hips. The purple-haired students and the early morning classes, an occasional brandy, the raised gin shot glasses, the long lectures and the hallowed halls, the fluorescent bulbs lighting the white plaster walls, tell the same tale, share the same lie, live forever, you will never die. And the morning snow is melting in the lustful rain. She looks good for 40, but 40 just the same. The aroma of black coffee and the sweet scent of new textbooks, the polite smiles and the desirous looks, bear the same promise, fetch the same rose. You are young yet, heaven knows. And the childless woman examines her life, not yet a mother, perhaps never to love and her freedom from strife. Still the lies that she lives with cleave her thoughts like a knife. So she fixes her straight hair, then fixes her educated stare on suitors going bald. And their martini traces is her whiff of despair. She is Chinese, smart, and very pretty. Most graduate students think her most pretty. Her lingering smile is, and yes, the Madonna she has, excellent teeth. Almost tenure and a fuel-efficient car, but a long this blemish by far. And the childless woman harbors some recurring doubt of the small trusting faces she lives without. Sorry that was so long.
No, 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 it was beautiful. I enjoyed it at least. I'm gonna speak on everybody's behalf. That's totally
we're down to the last one. And yeah. Two comments about this. I had somewhat of a former flame, and she said, you know, Orrin, before I met you, whenever I thought of poetry, I thought of sunshine and green grass and butterflies. And I guess all that changed. And the other one told me that she could never be serious with me because she wouldn't want me to write about her. So here's a poem about someone I wrote about. It's called Johanna, I Have Been Writing. Find your rainbow and your elsewhere happiness. Let it be so. My love is far too lifeless now, and your love too distant anyhow. Go on. Forget the abortions clean as a calfskin glove, rasping sobs and my late night extortions of love. Let it be so. Let the weeds grow in a hopeful heart as the years lull us apart. Sit by the lake. More silent tears will flow. Watch the waves break, the smell rush to and fro. Let it be so. Few are the oaths we take, fewer the milestones make. Muse, one last thing with one last meaning. And don't confuse me now. This wooden house with its leftward leaning can be straightened. How? The pastel colors in after rain sky, softly seducing the searching eye, are treasured by leprechauns. Go on, say what you know. Let it be so impassioned as our drunken dawns, dying like our stilted yawns. My Fraulein isn't known for her heart. She picks the world apart, bone by bone, looking for a philosopher's stone. Strange, the newfound black faces, yet stranger the white ones in dim lit places. Their drawn thin lips, their rhythmless hips when they walk lack a certain zeal. Their tickled talk, new. Go on. I've seen their great cities, New York and Chicago. Let it be so. Spare the parting words and keep your pities. Hog your life with your busy plans that keep me dizzy on too many days like these. Slam the door shut. Let me freeze. You accept my love like defeat, sadly searching for some safer street, an avenue out of my arms, and your angry mouth dicing up my charms, the way you talk about my dog-patient heart, my pitiful pleading snout. Go on your cross-country way. Let it be so. No one is forcing you to stay, and here you are just day to day. The hills out west, they are so more inviting than the lunatic whose words have no requiting save this plea. Johanna, Johanna, you know I have been writing. Es todo.
Thank you so much for sharing with us today, Oren. I know last time was your first time with us, and I'm really happy to see you back. And you know, it's funny that I'm assuming she was the one that said for you not to write about her. And I think if anybody wants a poet to not write about them, you should say that. But I mean, the muse hits. I mean, Bruno wrote about a cockroach, so it's like, the muse hits when the muse hits. You can't help it. So thank you so much, Oren. So I do want to say that is the end. I will be closing with a poem, but before I go ahead and share one last poem with you all, I do want to remind folks that we do have the art exhibit by Frank Rosario, Attack Decay, being posted up in the American Poetry Museum right now. You can go to the American Poetry Museum Fridays 5 to 7 p.m., Saturdays 10 to 3 p.m. You could see through Sammy's video, he's sharing the artwork, a little preview of the artwork right now. I'm also want to share with you all that we're going to be announcing upcoming events with the American Poetry Museum and this art exhibit so that you can learn more about the artwork, learn more about the artist, be able to ask questions and all of that good stuff. This Sunday, we have a reading with Flower Song Press, and yours truly will be hosting. So I'll be there this Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the American Poetry Museum Facebook page. And if you liked what you saw today, what you heard, and what you experienced with Mother Tongues, we will be back next month, April 9th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you want to get on the open mic list, or if you want to just go ahead and tune in and watch us and enjoy the beautiful art that gets shared, make sure to like the American Poetry Museum, reach out to me, reach out to Sammy, and we'll be more than happy to talk to you about it. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close this off with a poem. Llevas la procesión por dentro. I carry the procession within me. I carry the funeral within me. I mourn within. Estoy de luto, even though you can't see it. I mourn for the woman named Life in Hebrew, yet whose life has ended. For the woman I knew as beautiful, but will never see again. My blood blackened, carrying sorrow not even ebony can hide. Veins and vessels slowly pumping up and down my body to ensure I'm not completely broken. Endless lines of darkened spirits hold each other as they make their way toward a beating drum, a prayerful rhythm, a weeping heart. In my chest, oxygen screams Evelyn's name as sangre cries thickened tears searching for where else to flow. My corpse sees her corpse enveloped in a pink metal cocoon wrapped in flowers. She is gorgeous. Red roses, yellow sunflowers, white lilies, orange carnations, rainbow daisies, and my legs nearly collapse, yet I stand. The procession moves closer to her, and my nose remembers her perfume as a garden. My eyes remember her flesh as a garden. My ears remember her voice as a garden. I feel as though it is just me and her in the cold room she sleeps in, and I just try to remember her as a garden. My mind replays the last time she sang to me a story, a laugh, a Dios te bendiga, and my sobbing forces a mimic of a sound. I live, she lives, and I think the roots, the grass, the flowers break free even in the cemetery. Concrete cracked open by a forest of wild flowers that not even death can contain. Thank you so much, everybody. We will see you on Sunday for the reading with Flower Song Press. And stay tuned for more events coming up with Frank Rosario and next month at the Mother Tongues Open Mic on April 9th. Thank you to everybody watching us, and thank you to our artists who joined us today.